Hello, everybody. Tonight, the 2024 NBA Draft takes place in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York City. And it's a pretty crazy NBA draft, if I would say so myself, at the least. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's not a clear cut number one pick like there was in the past with Wemby, and before him, guys like Zion Williamson and so many other guys as of late. This draft has a lot of great prospects. It's a deep draft, but there's not a lot of separation, it feels, between the different prospects. Personally, you can check out my full first round mock draft right now. It's live. RyanWall.substack.com. It's on my Substack. It's linked in my X. You can check it all out there and down below. But getting into this, the Hawks have the first pick. They were a long shot to get the first pick. They had the eighth best odds. And with the first pick, I have the Atlanta Hawks taking Alex Sarr from the NBL. He played with the Perth Wildcats this past season. I just believe that Alex Sarr, I don't compare him to Wemby of last year, but where I would not compare him, but say he has similar skills, and I view him in the same light where he can affect the game in so many different ways, and he's such a raw talent. And being almost 7 feet tall, he's 6'11". He's played center, but I feel like in the NBA, he has so many different things that can make him a useful player. He's such a good defensive player. He's a good finisher at the rim, and I actually like his jump shot. I think he can improve there as a scorer too, but I think defense is going to be the main thing. He has a 7'5" wingspan. The guy is really, really talented. The Hawks, we don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to keep Trae Young, if they're going to keep DeJounte Murray. That's to be seen later on, but right now, you got to pick the best player. Alex Sarr still fits the Hawks, even if they do keep Young and Murray. They do have Clint Capella. They do have Onyeka Okongwu. But this guy is a difference maker. He's something that those guys aren't. He doesn't move like a 7-footer. He's really good. And I saw Sam Vecini make a good comparison a little bit in one of his breakdowns, compared him to a little bit to Giannis. And not obviously, I don't think that's fair to compare anyone to an MVP and an all-time great like Giannis. But if you look at Giannis, when Giannis came into the league, it was very similar to Alex Dahl. He was really a raw player. He was skinnier. He needed to put on a lot of weight. And Giannis did that. And we see when he bulked up and put on a lot of muscle, that allowed him to bully opponents in the paint, grab more rebounds, be more physical. And it really helped Giannis grow as a player. And I think the same with Sarr. I don't think they have the same game. I do think Sarr's more of a traditional type center, but I still think that his game's going to continue to develop as he's still a teenager here. But with the number 2 pick, I have the Washington Wizards taking Zachary Rizachet. I really like Rizachet because of his ability to hit three-pointers at such a high level. He averaged over 11 points, 4 rebounds, about a block and a half. To me, he fits that mold of a 3-and-D type player. He's 6'8". He's still a teenager as well. He played in France this past year. He's from Spain, as we know. But I really think he is going to be a really good player for a long time because he has so many skills and can affect the game in so many different ways. And I really think he could be a ball handler when given the chance a little bit more. We haven't seen that a lot, but with the Wizards, they have so many areas of need. Obviously, they do have Kyle Kuzma, who's been really good. Jordan Poole was up and down last season, but young talent-wise, I mean, last year they drafted Bilal Coulibaly, who I really like. They got Patrick Baldwin in a trade, another young player. Denny Advia, they drafted a couple years ago along with Johnny Davis and Corey Kispert, but they don't have that guy. They don't have that guy that stands out from the rest, and I think Rizachet can be that guy for them. He's such a talented scorer and finisher, and I really think that for the future, I really think that he would be a great player for them to build around as they kind of try to just rebuild and gather as many high level prospects as possible because as we know their rosters pretty depleted after they traded Bradley Bill. They got a lot of picks, so we'll see what they do in the future. But moving on, the third pick, the Rockets, it's been reported they've been looking to trade this pick for a long time. But I think right now, the best player in the interim and for the future with this roster is Stefan Castle. Castle, obviously, this past season, when he won the national championship and was a big part of that national championship winning team with the Yukon Huskies. He was a really, really good player for Yukon. And I kind of feel like his skills weren't maximized with Yukon. I feel like he can be a guy that can even play more on the ball than he was with Yukon. Yukon, he kind of was, it was kind of by committee of who brought the ball up, who initiated offense. But I really think he could be a lead guard, and he's such a phenomenal defensive player. He's just a little over 6'5", 210 pounds, has a good build to him, and I really think he's going to be an All NBA guard at some point in the NBA, especially on the defensive side of the ball. All defense, that's in his future. His jump shot needs to improve. He only shot about 25% last season. But the thing that's for sure with Castle, the guy is a winner. He makes all the right decisions. He was the best young player in college basketball this past season. And I really feel like he can fit any different style. And I feel like a future with him and Jalen Green in the backcourt, along with Jabari Smith and Cam Whitmore, other great young players along with Alperen Şengün, I really think that this is a great young team. And I think adding a great guard that can initiate the offense and get everyone else involved to help Jalen Green would be great. There's been rumors about Reed Shepherd. I like that fit, but I don't think Reed is a point guard. So I really think they need someone that could get others involved right from the beginning. But number 4, the San Antonio Spurs, they hold 4-8. With the 4th pick, I have them picking Mattis Buzelis. Buzelis spent this past year in the G League Ignite, was pretty good this year. Average over 14 points, about 7 rebounds a game and 2 blocks. He really showed his versatility. He can guard multiple different positions. He's 6'8". He's still a very young player, a 5-star talent coming out of high school. And I think the key is for the Spurs is to find players that fit with Wemby and just adding as much great young talent as they can. And I think Buzelis could be really a great fit either in the front court at the 4 spot or even the 3 spot. I think it's still unknown of where he'll play, but I think he'll be able to guard multiple different positions in the NBA, that's for sure. And I really like that fit. His jump shot, he didn't shoot it awfully well this past year with the G League Ignite, but I really like his jump shot. And he, to me, is just a great athlete, a great talent. He could do so many different things. And I think kind of he's only kind of hitting the surface of about exploring his talents and showing how talented he is. Because I feel like if everything goes right, he has a chance to be the best player in this draft class. But rounding out the top 5, Detroit Pistons, they're another team that's kind of been in a weird spot. They just fired their head coach, Monty Williams. New GM, Cade Cunningham, played last year. He's been banged up the last couple, but they still have a lot of good young talent along with Cade and Jaden Ivey and Asor Thompson and Jalen Doran and Isaiah Stewart. They have a great young core to me, but they're missing that wing scorer and shooter. And to me, that's Cody Williams from Colorado, the former 5-star talent. Was another guy who was banged up last year, but when he came back, he always made an impact. He hit at an incredible clip, 41% from 3. This guy was really good when he was on the court. I really think he needs to do a better job of crashing the boards and rebounding, and even on the defensive side, because he is 6'8". He is long and rangy. He is a good athlete, I believe. So I think he's kind of only just showing he showed a little bit of what he can do. And even with that, just being an elite 3-point shooter and scorer at the basket is just great. So if he can add those little elements with his game, add some areas of defense, and I really just think it's more he just needs to put more effort on that level. But I think he has all the tools. He's 6'8", only 190 pounds, needs to put on a little bit of weight there to hang with the bigger guys in the NBA. But I think if you add him along with Cade and Jaden and Asor, that this team is really on their way to being a really good team. But that's my top 5 in the 2024 NBA draft. It's a pretty crazy NBA draft. It seems like anything could happen. I feel like there'll be at least one trade inside that top 5. But right now, I have the Hawks taking Alex Sarr, the Wizards at number 2 taking Zach Rizichet, Stephon Castle going 3 to the Rockets, the Spurs taking Mattis Bezelis, and at 5, I have the Detroit Pistons taking Cody Williams from Colorado.